of this version of the podcast. My guest is now the one and only Bill Maas. How you doing, buddy?
How are you doing? I'm looking at you over here, but I'm looking at me over here. So
Yeah, that's right. How you doing? But no,
how you doing? No, everything's good. Everything's good. Busy.
so I met with a client this afternoon, which is cool. We had coffee. It's always good to have good relations with that. I write a blog that's going to be coming out. It looks like a little later than planned with on his end. But that's I've been stockpiling a bunch of blogs about science fiction and fantasy stuff.
Nice.
Right. So I get paid to do it. It's kind of a wonderful little gig, right? So I got this month's columns to write. I've agreed to 4 a month for the time being. And had coffee there doing this. And then I'm legitimately about an hour after I get off the air with you, my first eBay sales for my comic book collection go up.
Gotcha. You have a full day.
Yeah, no, it's life, man. I mean, you gotta do, like, time is now. I've been posting this for the last little bit is I want to get on the road with the show. Like, I'm going on the road with the show after I break 1,000, which is not that far away.
Not that far away. It's like, are you kidding me? It's like
it's like a month and a half. It's like a month and a half for this version of the show to wrap up. I have a Patreon up now, where it has the new versions of the shows already. Like, I've already started filming versions of the new show with the people in Calgary. Right, I'm filming it, writing it, producing it. So I'm kind of figuring out the formula for that show as we speak.
Right.
One of my other client jobs is another show. So I've suddenly become this film guy. I'm not sure how that fucking happened.
Multitasker.
Have to.
You have to wear a lot of hats. I mean, it's you just can't do one thing. You know?
No. Well, very rarely are you fortunate enough to do one thing and stick with it. What ends up happening is all the skills start to bleed. That's just how it goes, right?
Yeah.
It's not just one thing, it's multiple things. And so I'm telling stories, but it's just what I'm doing. Like, I've done comic work in the last year. Like, my first book I edited is coming out on Kickstarter literally in like 7 days. So it's like that's cool. In comic scripts, I'm a creative. So as a creative, I've just been using my creativity, and I'm that I figured out how to make a little bit of money doing it. Now, more gigs, more work, all that stuff. But
I've been living by the mantra of volume for a long time. So the trick is to be able to get paid more for the individual projects that you do, so you can pour more time and you can put more energy into each one.
This is a game of time. Like, that's the real, like, it doesn't really matter. It can be a day job too. It's a game of time. You have so many hours in a day to accomplish whatever task you're going to accomplish. Also, but as you get older, you realize you only have, like, the minutes behind you are slowly becoming more than the minutes in front of you.
Yeah, don't get me
started. Well, but then you start thinking, like, okay, I am 41. So at best, I have a 50-50 chance. I'm at that 50-50 point. I might live longer than that. I double my life. Then again, I might not. Right. One can't. I know it sounds like very morbid when I put it like that.
No. We can all get hit by a bus tomorrow. I mean, we might. This might be the last podcast.
It's totally true.
For both of us, we'll get hit by the same bus.
Listen, that's fine. Just remember, I'm big spoon, you're little spoon. Okay.
Oh man.
But no, I mean, but the thing is, you start looking at things in terms of time, not money.
Time is your currency. That really is true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So what you're looking at is, okay, how can I maximize my time to do what I want to do? I'm still at the long hours trying to get my name out there phase, but as I keep getting more work, what's going to end up happening, and this is, I can definitely see this, I'm going to, in theory, like, from a time perspective, work less but do more. And I'm starting to think in those terms because I want to enjoy my life. I mean, that sounds like really like lame.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's good to love your work, but you got to live too. You got to, you can't just only be your work.
I like dating. You know, going out and doing things,
Sure.
right?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Life's short. So you gotta do it like it's about all the things that matter to you. And
Mhm.
so that's the case basically where I'm at. Like I'm at so this month is about selling off my comics as many of them as I can.
Mhm.
Right. Or until I get to at least a certain dollar amount in my head. Now maybe I get there, maybe I don't. Like this is the other thing too. I'm no longer I
Mhm.
try not to marry myself to the certain like this will definitely work out this way kind of thing because I've learned
Right. Right. Right.
that's not how life works. Um, but
Unfortunately.
no, but well, maybe it is. I don't have two minds of that. Sometimes it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, maybe it is. It's unfortunate sometimes, but I think more often than not, it's a good thing. We
Mhm.
tend to think too small. That's what I've learned.
Yeah.
But
Creatives have that problem. Yeah.
yeah, we tend to think too small.
Mm.
So but okay, doesn't work out. Let's say next week I start putting my stuff out there, nothing
Mhm.
moves. It's
Right.
possible. I don't I'm not gonna say 200 comics, something will probably go. But
Mm.
to what end, to how end, we'll find out, right?
Right. Right.
But
It's up to everybody else. It's
y-
we
yeah,
all we can do is put ourselves out there. So
exactly.
yeah.
So
Mm.
say it doesn't work out. I go
Mhm.
get a part-time job. I don't
Mhm.
need a full-time job. Just I go get a part-time job. I
Mhm.
save up my money,
Right.
I go. At the end of the month, after I put all my comics out there, we kind of see what works, what
Uh-huh.
doesn't, right?
Mhm.
It's done. I go to the next, I do the next thing, and I just do the next thing.
Mhm.
The result I want is what matters to me. How I get there,
Well,
less
it's
so, right?
that's the journey. That's you know, and this kind of thing is being a creative. It's 100%. It's just journey. There's
Yeah.
never a destination. So you hit goals, but there's never like a
Mhm.
final. I've mastered this. It's like there's never that. So
I actually at that point I expect an animal to fall on my head like Wile E. Coyote. He goes to the next life. You mastered this. Congrats. To the next life you go. It's like
well, you
no.
say you're in the phase of pushing yourself out there to gain an audience, to gain a bigger audience, to keep on. And I feel like every so often that's like no matter where you're at as far as that is concerned, it's like because right now it's like I'm looking at my daughter's generation coming up, and she's 25 now,
Yep.
and I feel like I'm presenting myself to that generation of fans coming up, trying to gain their interest into my work, like from scratch. It's like I've got, older fans and I've got fans that just, knew about me from before, which is great. But at the same time, it's like there's always that phase of building more interest or
You
more
have to.
fans or new people or gaining that seems like that's always going to be part of the job. That's always gonna be
Well,
part of the
you have to constantly reinvent yourself somewhat,
You do.
right?
Yeah, you
So
can't, uh, I would see, like, Jerry Lewis trying to, "Hey, that's my alarm to remind me that I'm supposed to be on a stream with
podcast.
Josh. I sh I better hit the
Yeah,
button."
that's right.
But, you watch, like, Jerry Lewis in his later years, and if he tried to pull off some of his comedy and some of his shtick that he did when he was younger, it's like it didn't feel right. It's just like, that was your 20-year-old stuff, which is, like Jim Carrey, like, his very physical comedy when he was younger, like during The Mask or during Ace Ventura. If he pulls that stuff off now, it has a different ring to it. You have to keep
It,
on reinventing yourself, embracing your age, embracing your experience, just be the
yeah,
best version of yourself in the moment. Don't try to continue to be the 20-year-old that you were back in the day.
there are times you can ham yourself though. This is the
Yeah, yeah.
thing, right?
There's moments that always work. It's like and thankful for those
Like
moments.
like I could see Jim Carrey doing like
Mhm.
one time. It wouldn't be like every
Yeah.
show, but for one time, say, let's just turn back the
Right,
clocks
right.
one night only,
Yeah,
right? It could be good, but he'd have to think it through a little. Again, you can't
right.
do it the same way
Can't
though,
do it, yeah, well,
because you're
because
not
you
the
have to embrace who you are in the moment. I would love to see an Ace Ventura, but him as an older guy, like, play into it, lean
I
into it. Don't
well, see if he did that, I would want him to make fun of Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
That would be like I think that's the goal,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
play the old guy, tries to do the physical things he did when he was a younger guy. It's like, I can't. Like, that would be the joke, right?
Right.
That would be the
But
joke. He
I think
couldn't
his
do
humor
those
would
things
be
anymore.
like more self-aware. So like a lot,
Yeah.
very self-aware that time has passed and that he's older
Yeah.
and he's, so you have a certain bravado or a certain air to you when you're 20 that it doesn't work when you're 40 and 50 and 60.
Oh, no,
For some people, for the ones that it does, that's like lightning in a bottle. Go for it. It's like,
well, no. See, at 20, you think you know how the world works.
You think.
At 30, you have no clue, and you realize this. And at 40, you just don't give a shit anymore, because what ends up happening there is just like, you realize. I think the biggest revelation when I turned like my mid-30s, 40s is it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks anymore.
That's a good feeling. That's a really good feeling. I'm 53. So when you hit your 50s, you just accept the fact that there's lots of things that you don't know, and you're probably not going to.
Do you
being
always want to do
of that humbles you a little bit.
Well, Bill, I mean, seriously. So I am a naturally curious person, but sometimes there's a little part of me inwardly that cringe when I want to ask why. There's a little part of me, because you probably have experienced this yourself. You'll see something incredibly stupid, right? And you're not sure why this is happening. Like, you just don't understand it, right? And then you ask why, and you get an answer, and it oddly hurts you more than when you ask the question. Right.
There's moments.
Yeah, it just hurts more, because you're like, now that I understand, I need drugs, because I don't want to understand this anymore. Right. But when I say it like that, because what I think what happens and this is probably what's going to happen to me when I get to 50. It's not that there are things there are things I'm going to accept the fact that there are always going to be things in life I will not know. And that's fine. But I think more importantly, I think this is the part I think is I'm going to be a lot more picky and choosy about what I want to find out.
See, that's a secret that younger people don't know. It's like when you do get older, you know what you don't want. That's actually sometimes more important to know. Yeah, exactly. It's just like, hey, we're going to go blah, 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 like whatever it happens to be. And you're just like, that's not going to pan out so good. I don't want that. You guys go ahead. Yeah. That's going to be a YouTube clip later. You guys will be famous, but
yeah, exactly. No, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna popcorn over here, because I think I know where this is gonna go. You might surprise me.
Right.
I'm a big enough man to admit this, but
I used to phrase it to my daughter, because my daughter would ask me for advice. Fatherly advice growing up. Blah blah blah. I want to do this. I want to do that. Whatever. And I try to be as informative and as father figure as possible, but also be a little bit transparent, where it's just like, look, it's not like I have all the answers, and it's not like I'm so much smarter than you because I'm older. It's just that I've seen this movie before. I've seen it, and I know how it usually pans out. And it's kind of funny, because she'll come back to me later and she's like, oh, you were right. Like I'm a sage, old, wise man or something. It's just like, no, I've just seen that movie like 10 times. I know it probably happens.
What I've learned, though, is you're saving her time, and that is valuable in of itself, because that's
not so much time that it takes away experience, because I mean, like, you still have to experience life. You still got to. So I'm not trying to. I try to keep her safe, and I try to keep her from wasting too much time. Well, I mean, you know what? No matter how much I try to give her all the answers, life, you still have to experience certain things yourself. So,
yeah. Because you got
it's going to happen regardless. So, but I just do the best I can to moderate it.
Well, the other thing you got to understand too is that the world does change, right?
Absolutely.
And what works for you may not necessarily work for her.
Exactly. And I tell her that. I mean, that's the transparency part. It's just like, hey, this is what I think. Like one time she got mad at me because when she was like, I don't know, 12, 14, something like that. She was mad at me because there was this one afternoon where she wanted to go down the street, down to the park. And for some reason I was uncomfortable with it. I was just like, oh, you're by yourself. You're not you're not with family. You're not with friends. And you're just running down there by yourself to the park. And this particular day I was like, I don't know. It's like, maybe not. Maybe he's like, and she was a little upset about it because she just wanted to know why. So uh, I didn't have an attitude with her raising her of because I said so. It's like I didn't have a habit of saying that to her. So I told her it's just like, well, okay, here's the thing. I'm scared. I'm scared something will happen to you. You're far away from the house. If something does happen to you, I can't help you. I don't know what's happening. And she looked at me and she was just like, that's a plausible answer. All right, cool.
Mhm.
And we didn't have any argument at all. She was just like, she understood that I was just scared. That was it.
Yeah.
And she was like, I understand that feeling. Okay, cool, cool. We did something
Yeah,
else for a little while.
because
Yeah, yeah.
your daughter, when I talked to her when she was on the show last time,
Mm,
seemed like the kind. Well, two
mm.
things. She seems like she was the one in charge at this point, which I think is
She's very smart. Yeah, she's got a good head on her shoulders.
no, she
Yeah.
does. She does. I get the big
Hey, that's a phone. Maybe I should silence that.
yeah, it's all good. But the other big impression I got with her was though I did I this is, and if she listens to this, I'm sorry, Kat. This is just the impression I got from you. If she's set on something, that's it,
No,
right?
you
That's
read
it.
her correctly. If when she said on something that I've tried to push her away from art and from comics and from painting and because it's kind of a roller coaster life. You have to really love it because
Mhm.
there's times where it's really difficult. And she's tried a million different things, and as soon as she does not like click with it or enjoy it, she's like, okay, well, I'm done with this particular activity. And she's very straightforward. It's like she was trying out, she did sports, she did, like marching band or like, flags, for like 5 seconds. And they were just like, we don't want you to go. And she's like, this is just not for me. It's just not working for me. And as soon as like she knows that, she's decided that, she kind of shuts off to it.
She learns how to quit fast, that's actually a really good
It's
skill.
good. I mean, she doesn't put herself in a position where people are depending on her. I mean, she's trying these things out and getting into them.
Yep.
And so, as soon as she knows that, I remember getting in the like Cub Scouts when I was a kid, and I was just like, well, I guess I'm a Cub Scout no matter what. There's nothing I can do about it. It's like they're going to drop me off, and here I am. It's like, or I was in marching band in high school. I was in different activities, sports, like baseball or whatever. And it wasn't like I can just pick up and go. I did it even if I hated it. But that was the 80s. That was the 70s. That's it's like, hey, my parents dropped me off and I'm doing this, or they're going to be upset. They bought me a glove and a bat. It's like I have to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, like, but I think it's a good quality. The only thing the only downside with that is if you're trying to dissuade her from
Hmm.
something, you have to give her a very valid reason. And if
Oh
you
yeah. Oh yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
if you don't, she's going to ignore you. And
Mhm.
even if you do give her a valid reason, sometimes she's going to do it anyway. That was
That's true. That's
that
growing
is
up. That's you have to
yeah.
experience things
Yeah.
yourself. But yeah, she's always been that way ever since she was a little kid. You have to give her an intelligent, actual, plausible, real reason, or at the very least, if I wasn't being plausible or making sense, at the very least, it was honest and it was from the heart, you know. And then
Yeah,
she's
I
like,
would
"Okay, I understand where you're coming from. Now I know why." If she doesn't know
I
why,
would
it bugs her to death.
yeah, that sense she's like me. If she doesn't know why,
Has to
it
know.
bugs her to
Yeah.
death.
Yeah, there's gotta be a real reason. There's gotta be, because I
Yeah.
told you so or because you have to. Those are,
Oh, no,
you know
I'm gonna give you the finger. I'm just gonna give you the
yeah,
finger at that
yeah,
point.
yeah.
It's I
And I'm
it's
just and I'm just like, "You know what? Good for you. You want answers."
well, again, it's that thirst
Mm.
to learn, discover, and do. That's part of it, but also it's again, and we're talking about Kat here a lot, but even though she's not here. So Kat, if you are listening to this, I'm sorry. This is just where it went. But the thing is, again, that was the biggest impression I got from her is she is very self-assured of what she wants to do.
Right, right.
And if you're going to change her mind, you're gonna have to do it in a way
Mm.
that makes some kind of sense to her.
Mhm.
But even then, also like she's got just enough stubbornness slash confidence slash whatever you want to call it.
Right, right.
She might just say, F it, I'm gonna do it anyway. And I that is her strengths
Mhm.
and her
Yeah.
weakness. Both. It's both.
Yeah.
But that will be why she does some incredible things.
Yeah.
It's also going to be probably why she makes some of her biggest mistakes too. But that is
That's life.
that's how we all
That's
are.
living. Yeah, that's being
Yeah.
alive. And she's in her 20s, and the 20s are your workshop years. That's that I
I
heard an actor saying that. I forgot who it was that was saying that now. It's just like, yeah, it's like people are always like people in their 20s are so concerned with having everything figured out, having their career path, solid and this and that. And if you're in your 20s and you can do that, that's awesome. More power to you. But for the most part, your 20s, those are the years that you take risks and challenge, and chances, and you don't have a lot of collateral damage. You don't have children yet. You don't have a mortgage yet. You don't have, you know, go out there and try some things and see what you like.
I have the only slight pushback I have is
Hmm.
because I still have none of these things. I'm in my 40s. It's just like um well, it's about what you want in life.
Mhm.
That's what I would tell. That's what I tell. I think when you're 20, this is the thing. In your 20s, I knew I've always wanted to be a creative,
Mhm.
but the hows, the whys, the whens, all that stuff.
Right, right, right.
I had to learn that
Mhm.
stuff. Right. 30s is when I put certain things in order. 40s is where I'm like, no, fuck this. I'm doing it. And I think I know how I am incredibly confident as to how.
Right.
That was a process,
Yeah, it
right?
is. Yeah.
But that's a process. And you don't get there. You don't get there right away. But what I will say is it is possible to get there in your 20s.
Mhm.
It's also possible to get there in your 60s.
Oh, absolutely. It's like,
I I was just gonna say then I think the real secret is, are you honest with yourself?
right.
I think age is I don't think age matters. I don't even think to some degree what you have
Mhm.
matters. Although I get it, when you have a family, when you have a mortgage, it's not
Well,
just about you
there's
anymore.
things that you do that
Yeah.
like in 2000 I became a single parent, just through divorce and things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Cat was 2.5 years old. Being an artist is an up and down life, right? So I supplemented my income. I went. It's the first day job I've had in years, and I worked at Pep Boys for like 6 years. I
Yeah.
knew nothing about cars, but I know Spanish and I know the owner.
And that's
And it
fine.
was great. I learned a lot. It's actually the experience working there, like, really taught me how to talk with people in like a client relationship, that sort of. There's lots of things I picked up there, and making myself useful there so they wouldn't get rid of me. That was important. So I did have
Absolutely.
to know what I was doing after a little while.
Well,
But you
well,
do what you have to do.
I think
You
the thing
need a
is,
steady income. So
well, do you want to know what my side gig? Because again, creatively speaking, I've made more money as a creative lately. But my side
Hmm.
gig, I work at a hockey arena.
That's cool. That's interesting.
Yeah, I work for an NHL team.
Uh-huh.
So, and I get to basically I get to I work in the
Mhm.
warehouse, which means I get access to all the booze, right? And but no, I mean that's the joke. The real part of the gig, and this has been the most fun part of the
Mhm.
gig
Yeah.
is I get to deliver all this food and booze wherever it needs to go in the building, the
Right.
concession stands, whatever the case may
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
But what was really fascinating about the job was
Mhm.
everybody goes there. I mean, everybody goes there at some
Right.
point or
It's the
another,
filter, right? The
right?
great filter.
Yeah, no, no,
Yeah.
it totally is.
Uh-huh.
So the former Calgary Flames coach, I actually met him about a week and a half ago,
Right. Right. That's
right?
cool. Yeah.
Really nice guy. Like he really, really nice guy.
Mhm.
His son plays for the development team in hockey, so he was there to watch the game, but he just popped in just because he could. I've met newscasters there, I've met politicians there, but also on the flip side,
Uh-huh.
I've met people like me who are serving people that are just getting started or having their own dreams. And it hit me
Mhm.
in the middle of the season.
Right.
Everybody goes here. I
Everybody
mean,
goes.
everybody,
Right. Right.
right? And it's like that is the coolest thing about this building. Not the games,
Mhm.
but the fact is any given night you can meet somebody absolutely incredible at any level in life you can imagine.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
just gotta take a minute to do it. I accidentally ran into I don't know if you're a pro wrestling guy. I accidentally ran into Bret the Hitman Hart one night.
Uh-huh. Okay.
he was he was just, and it was just one of those. I was delivering something.
Uh-huh.
This is during one of the
Yeah,
intermissions.
yeah.
He was just quietly attending the game, minding his own, I didn't talk to him because I got the sense that he was just trying to have a good time,
Yeah, sure,
right? More
sure,
than anything
sure.
else,
Yeah.
right? But here I am, just quietly, just driving my
Doing
cart.
your
All of a
thing.
sudden,
Yeah, yeah.
going through it. It's like, excuse me, Brett. It's like, I mean, like that. Like, how do you?
Right.
And that's my job
That's cool.
when I'm not creating.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
You get
yeah.
stories out of that.
Oh yeah, totally, totally. But again, it's just how life works. Life is a very interesting filter in the sense that,
Mhm.
when I start going on the road and going to all these conventions, it's going to be the same thing.
Oh, sure.
You meet people that are just getting started
Mhm.
doing their thing, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But you also get to meet people who have really done some amazing things in an environment that they just happen to be there. And I think that's an
Yeah.
amazing, like I said, I don't like I'm probably past the point where I can do a full-time day job. Like I'm probably past that point in my life where I can do
Mhm.
that. But a job like this that was as fun as
Mhm.
this,
Mhm.
right? There's a small part of me that doesn't want to let it go. Like when I go on the road because it was fun. It
Right.
like legitimately.
Yeah, yeah. Nah, that's
But
cool. That's interesting. Yep. Love that.
yeah. So it'll be in my author bio. He also worked at a hockey
There
arena.
you go.
Yeah.
It's where I met everybody.
So I'm going to try to draw Naira again tonight.
Oh,
That's what I'm
cool.
going to try to
All
do.
right. Well,
Yeah,
I
because
got some, here we go. I'll switch cameras so you can see what I got.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I hit the right button. It'll be good to go. There we go. That's not the right one. And
So like I said, congrats on another campaign. By the way, that was. I mean, I felt bad I couldn't actually do it,
oh, it's all
but
good. It's all, we'll have extra copies later and stuff like that. We'll see.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I thought it like I've given. Oh wow, I looked you up on Google.
Uh-huh.
My column reviewing your book is actually one of the images. It's kind of cool, but who knew, right? But I've said this to you before. You have fun with Naira a lot. I can tell.
I kind of tend to write the stories around what I feel like drawing with
Yeah,
her. So like her adventures kind of go back and forth because of that.
yeah. So you enjoying this new run?
Yeah, I am a lot. I mean, the only bummer that's come in right now is that I just found out because I usually do San Diego Comic Con every single year,
Yeah,
and basically things are just in the wrong spot for me to be able to do it this year. This will be the first year that I'm not going to promote the book uh, since like 1992.
oh wow.
Yeah, it's like a pretty long run. We used to have our own booth there for a while, and then I was in Artist Alley for like the last 15 years, I think. So I was very very lucky, very fortunate to actually be a guest of the show for that long. Um, so nothing but good memories, nothing but good things. So
Oh yeah.
that's the only bummer. I found out that we're not going to be able to do that trip. We're going to Charleston, South Carolina next week for Incredible Con, so we'll be there. But that's one of the last shows that we'll be doing for the year.
Yeah, that's cool though.
But
That's
but
keep going.
but it's fun.
Sorry.
It's the new book is. Oh, I got to show you this too. Let me show you something. I just recently got my very first Image Comics cover. Tim
Congrats.
Seeley and Tony Fleeks had me along for Local Man #4. So it's actually the back cover. The back cover is a flip cover. The front cover is this. That's the regular cover.
Yes.
So I get to have the flip cover. So I was like super happy about that.
I actually just finished Seeley's run with Hexware. I enjoyed that a lot, actually.
Cool, cool. And then
Yeah.
the new Nira series, I'm having fun with it because it's kind of pirate themed, sort of pirate themed, in a cyberpunk kind of cyber angel kind of way. So I'm bringing back some of these pirate guys from the Nira X books that we did with Avatar Press, that was like back in '96. The
Yeah.
first appearance of these piratey characters. So that's the theme for this miniseries. So we have a 3-issue arc, and yeah, I mean it's cool because what's happening in her world is that all this time travel stuff, you could really write yourself into a corner. It's like if you,
Yes, you can.
yeah, it's like, and I've had so many crossovers, and I've had so many like different companies publish her and different stories. So it got to the point where it was just super convoluted. I mean, the book doesn't take itself very seriously to begin with,
No.
but still, even even with the tongue in cheek nature of the book, uh, it still needs to make a little bit of sense. So I had an event happen at the beginning of this series that we just simply call it the collapse, where all of
Okay.
her timelines, all of her different time travel things, they all kind of just collapsed into this one reality. So instead of doing a reboot or something like that, all those other things are still part of her continuity. It's still part of her past. Um, but now we get to write new stories. It's in a new setting. It's on this new planet setting called Oasis, which is just a
Yep.
patchwork of all the different worlds that Nira has been to already, and all these different characters. So it's like we're introducing the characters fresh, but at the same time, they remember each other. They know that they've met each other in the past.
Yeah. Well, that. Well, that way you can pick and choose what you liked about it, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Right. Right. Not everything you did prior, like, probably was the best idea in the world. I mean, it might have seemed fun at the time, but I mean,
Oh
looking in
yeah.
hindsight, like,
Yeah. Back in the '90s, I was getting paid to get better.
yeah, exactly, right.
And
So,
then like even
so
even the way I think about the fans. I mean, I think of I don't think I have fans necessarily. What I have are like just cool friends that support me. They
yeah, that's
they
fair.
support my shenanigans.
That's fair. I mean, I would consider myself a bit of a fan, but that's cool. I mean, just because I do consider you a friend too. It can be, but I think it can be both. You
Oh,
know what I mean?
absolutely, absolutely. I'm nothing but grateful.
Yeah.
But it is kind of fun. It's like, oh, I came up with this particular idea in the '90s, and it wasn't really polished off, or it really wasn't drawn the way I wanted it, or something like that. So now I'm kind of like revisiting it. So this is sort of like like when somebody does like a cover when they redraw a cover that they did years ago. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is how much progress I've made as an artist. This is what it looks like.
Oh
This is what it
yeah.
looks like now.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I mean, you're not the same. I mean, that's the other part of the reason why you're making the changes you're making. You're not the same guy you were then either,
Oh,
right?
exactly.
Right. So you're gonna have different ideas, right? Different ideas on how to do this thing, and some of those ideas are going to be phenomenal. Some of these ideas, right? I think the hardest part sometimes is the thing younger you has over older you. Sometimes is the passion, right, of that
There's
idea.
definitely like younger me has so much more of a hunger, just because it's like, oh wait, I can do this. Like I'm allowed to do it for the first time, or people are responding to it for the first time. So there's
Exactly.
that rosy, wearing the rosy colored glasses, kind of feeling.
Hmm.
But if you could temper that with a little bit of experience, so that way the work is actually, and it's another thing about the experience half of it is like you try to still kindle the passion. Don't let it turn into a job. Don't let it turn into oh man, I got to draw 5 pages, to make my deadline. Um,
Yeah.
because that's the opposite of every reason I started doing this in the first place.
Oh, absolutely. So what? So I've been writing prose and stuff for a very long time, and for me, part of the fun now is okay. I had this brilliant idea of how to tell the story when I was younger. Can I do it better today?
There you go.
Like, can I just,
Right, right, right. Uh-huh.
right? But the way I look at it now is okay. how can I tell the story, right? And like sometimes it's more efficiently. Sometimes it's like in a more fun way. It's like, okay, what if my character had was let's just say I just for pure comedy to amuse myself, right?
Mhm.
What if my character was a narcoleptic, just randomly fell asleep in random spots while the story was being told? I do things to amuse myself. I can't lie. But at the same time, right, there are so many ways to tell a story.
Oh, yeah.
And some of them are going to appeal to you more when you're older. And it's also the ability of what you can see as well, right? You don't when you're younger, you sometimes worry, I think, too much about what's in your head. Like I got this really cool idea and it's good to be excited about the idea.
Mhm.
But when you get older, you kind of realize, okay, what are people going to care about in the story? If that makes
It
sense.
does. Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
you bring different things to the table at different ages or different
Yeah.
levels of experience. That's the compromise that you always make when you're drawing because you have the idea in your head. You have what you really want to convey, but then you also
Yep.
have to deal with this is this is how good of an artist I am. This
Yep.
is as far as my skill will actually take me, which which upsets me like sometimes during a panel if sometimes people will bring up the thing of oh, you're drawing these sexy girls, you want real women to uh have these kind of standards, like that's what we're pushing, which is totally not. This is what cartoon girls look
No.
best as, not real people, obviously. So
Yes.
sometimes it's like, oh, why do you draw, women like this or like that or whatever? And it's just like, well, it's just, that's just as good as I draw. It's just like I don't, I can't draw any better. It's like tomorrow it might be a
Well,
different story.
I have a like slightly different take on how I would answer that, and that would be this: I'm having fun,
Yeah,
right? And
just
really,
for fun.
yeah, that's
You know,
that's it.
there was somebody that
It
posted
doesn't have to.
there's somebody that posted a picture of a real person next to a drawing that. Now I'm not going to name drop, but next to a drawing that a popular Image Comics artist drew, right? Like trying to
Yeah,
compare the
sure.
two. And my only response, the only thing I could think of to response was I posted a picture in response. I posted a picture of a real cat and a mouse, and then next to it, I posted a picture of Tom and Jerry. I'm just like,
Yeah,
yeah. And then you have this: cats are upset everywhere. Now these are
yeah,
cartoons. This is what the drawing looks cool as opposed to
yeah.
real people. But
And
that's a thing
and
that
like
has
I said,
layers.
well, the thing I look at things is okay. Your stuff doesn't like like yes, let's be honest. Nair is a pretty. It would be a pretty woman. It, like drawing like that, very pretty. But that's part of the point. The point is you're having fun. You're enjoying what you're drawing, and it's not like again. Anyone that's read a Naira story will tell you it's not exactly like you're trying to necessarily change the world or have like
Yeah, this is
it.
escape. This is
It's
very escapist fun. That's all it is. This is
yeah,
fantasy. It's
exactly.
fun.
And that's all it has to be. It doesn't need to be like you don't sometimes. So I, I'm going to talk music for a second.
Oh,
I've
sure.
been confessing this to everybody on the podcast,
Hmm.
right? I've recently became a Taylor Swift fan. I don't apologize for it.
Hey, that's okay.
Okay,
You don't know my deep dark secrets when it comes to music. My deepest darkest secret is
listen,
that my first CD that I ever bought was a Vanilla Ice CD. That was
that's
my
okay.
that was me ushering myself into the technology and the future of CDs, going from tapes
So okay,
to the future.
nice. Going to the future. To the future.
But Taylor
What's
Swift,
the
all right, that's
future?
good. That's a good respect. I like Taylor Swift.
Most people, you know what? I find that a lot of people really don't say anything terrible about her work at all. Right? I've seen a few exceptions to that, but by and large, You like her or you don't. Really, it really doesn't matter. Here's my point. Okay, she doesn't say anything necessarily world changing. She is music about love stories, about some of the mistakes she made in her life, right?
Mhm.
That's why I think it connects. There's a certain authenticity
Oh yeah,
to her stuff.
people can automatically relate to that. So
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've all made mistakes romantically. Like, I don't know anyone that hasn't,
no,
right?
if you're alive,
We weren't necessarily thinking,
if
uh,
you're alive, you've made mistakes romantically.
you know, oh, that is so true. I'm just gonna say I don't. I mean, much like many other people I know in this life, I didn't always make my choices with my head. I made my choices with other parts of my anatomy, but I don't know of a single guy that hasn't done that at least once, right? So it happens, right? And so all of which to say, right?
Mhm.
That's the thing. Like some arts don't exist to be this profound statement about the nature of humanity.
Right,
Like that's not what it's about. It's about,
exactly.
you know what? I'm having fun. And if I say something profound along the way, cool. And that's it. Like art can be fun and just be fun, right? Good is relative, right?
Good is relative.
But I mean,
Good
fun,
is actually up to that's another thing that's up to everybody else. I mean, you do the best that you can,
yeah,
but as far as, what is accepted, and here's the thing, it's like you say that the Nira character is very pretty, and I think she's
yeah,
pretty. I try to draw her like as pretty as I'm able to,
yeah, absolutely.
but even that is subjective. I mean,
Oh, it's totally subjective.
it's like this is just as well as I can draw pretty, and this is my idea of pretty, sort of like for her.
Sort of.
It's not a blanket
Yeah.
statement on what every girl should look like because it's not.
Oh God, no.
And there's other cyber angels in the book that they look different. They don't have the same body type
Absolutely.
and stuff as she does. But at the same time, it's just meant to be fun. It's not to be. None of the stuff that I draw is meant to be a blanket statement on what other everything else should be or something like that. Some silly political thing.
One of my favorite television shows of all time was, you'll probably chuckle when you hear this, was VIP.
Oh, I remember that show. That was a funny show.
Yeah.
That was actually
It was
that was actually a funny show. I like that show.
Yeah, well, it was hilarious. It knew exactly what it was. Like that's the thing I
Yes.
loved about it.
Yes, they completely played into what it was. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Right? They didn't try to sugarcoat it, right? And I loved it. Like that self-awareness is what made the show so damn good.
Yeah, I totally
Even
agree.
even the villains kind of like my favorite part was like some of the actors that were playing it, like they were in on the joke, and sometimes they would have some really fun like moments to it, right? And as a result, it was just like, this is pretty cool because it's a show that knows it, that has this very quiet self-awareness about what it is and what it isn't, right?
Yep.
So why would I or anybody else, and that's why it worked. It didn't get canceled because be, it got canceled because it wasn't because the show wasn't popular. It got canceled because the show was over budget, right? So they had a hit. It was fun. I still laugh when I see it. It's silly, but it doesn't. Again, it's not trying to be.
Oh, yeah.
It's not. It never tried.
Yeah, it's not trying to
It
be any
didn't try to be
it's
Shakespeare.
not trying to be anything that it's not.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why it works. You don't. As I've gotten older, I've come to appreciate in this world that what not every art has to be this serious, profound thing. It can just be, you or I just, having fun, right?
And that's what it should be.
That's all I need.
That's what it should be, damn it. And if elected, I will
So it should be. Damn it! If elected, I will change the now. And that doesn't mean there isn't room for like serious, profound works out there. There's some
Oh,
great
yeah,
things that do
there's
that.
there's obviously, like, stuff that really really, like,
Yeah,
hits on all cylinders, you know what I mean? But, something
absolutely.
like
And
this is definitely, something like what I'm doing it's just meant to be fun.
yeah,
I'm
and that
the fact that anybody collects it at all and Like that's, I'm honored that they like it enough to do any of that.
Like
Which is like,
I love when I have a buddy in Calgary, he's got some of your old issues,
uh-huh.
and it's funny, right? It's funny to me because it's like, yeah, that's cool, right? And I mentioned, and it's like, oh my god, Nira X, like, yeah, I used to get this back in the day. I'm glad you did, right? But right, I mean that's the. But again, which goes to something I was talking to my client today. We were talking about the impact we make on people's lives. Even something like this, right? I think this is a great thing. To be honest with you, is like even something like this can have create a profound memory, like bring a good feeling of like nostalgia, comfort, escape. That's valuable.
Yeah, I grew up on '80s television shows, and that was just escapism. It was just fun. Some of it I can't watch anymore. It's a little cringe, but I really try to watch like sit through episodes of Knight Rider, and
Oh
and
God.
it's so hard.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing: like they weren't always trying to be bad on purpose back then,
No, they were
right?
making an effort. They thought and they were breaking new ground. Actually, I know because if they didn't do the things that they did back then, we wouldn't have the cinematography that we have now. It's like we take it for granted a little bit. It's just like, oh,
I see. For me, I can look at old graphics and stuff like that, old attempts at
uh
things,
huh.
and if it's of a certain age, it gets a pass. I can look past it
Oh, I
because I
forgive it.
realize like
Yeah, I definitely forgive it. I don't hold it against it, but it's just hard to
yeah,
hard to sit through it.
yeah. I don't, but I'm just saying I just don't. I don't even have that. I don't even have that issue with it. It's like okay, like I because like some of my favorite video games have like the remember those old 8-bit sprite graphics to
Oh
it.
yeah, you kidding?
Yeah, right,
I still got
right.
Atari
So
2600 sitting on my counter.
no, I'm jealous. I'm actually a little bit
I
jealous.
mean, that's like I didn't buy it later. That's my actual Atari 2600.
Nice. Yeah, and the thing is, right? You go back in the day. You go back in the day. It's like wow, right? But the thing is, what I realize is some of the if I can look past a game's graphics
Mhm.
and watch the story and enjoy it, right? Then it's really good. It's a really good game because what that tells me is that the story beats are really good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my game of choice for the past month or so has been The Last of Us.
That's a good game.
That's a great game. It's like, I mean, the game came out a long time ago, um, but
Yeah.
I bought like a really cheap version of it, threw it in my PS4, and then I didn't know that they redid all the graphics and from the ground up or something like that for the PS5. So I replayed the
Yep.
campaign again through there, but the story beats were so good, and I like their gaming mechanics for how you actually shoot all the
Yeah.
zombies and mess with all the characters and stuff.
Yeah. I know it's a good little game. Like it's really good. I'm never gonna say anything bad about it. It's not quite my style of RPG, but I
Mhm.
respect it. My style of RPG is the JRPG stuff. Like I'm a big Persona guy. I love the Tales games.
I watch those games, like even in games like Elden Ring or whatever. It's like I watch Cat play those games. Like shoot,
Yeah,
even God of War. I watched her play
God
it.
of War's
I
good.
sat down and watched it like a movie. I let her play it. But then there's
Yep.
games the kind of games that I really enjoy playing are more not just first person shooters, but like Tomb Raider, Arkham Asylum, those type of games where it's just like okay,
Oh
you throw
yeah.
me in, I move forward into the story that way.
Yeah, I know.
Not too many menus to filter.
yeah,
God, you give me like 10,000 menus. I stopped playing Metal Gear Solid because like it was like office building 101. Like in between each level, I had to go back to the base, and there was just like 1,000 menus and 1,000 things I had to do to the base. And I was like, I just want to go on the next mission. Send me on the
Yeah.
next mission.
So my game of choice for that kind of game is Devil May Cry.
Yeah, the graphics on it. I really like the way the character looks. I have not played,
Yeah,
but I like the way it
I'm a big fan of the graphics, the movement. How do I put this? The personality of the games
Yeah.
are really good too.
Mhm.
Right? It's not one of those games where you look at it and go, "Oh, by the way, it feels really fun." There's a certain style to it, right?
Mm.
Dante is such a dick sometimes too, which is kind of actually part of its charm a little bit,
Right.
right? So, um, wow, drawing with you makes me realize I still have a long way to go, but I am getting better. I am getting better. I've been paid to illustrate, by the way.
Awesome.
Yeah. I created the glorious glitter dragon for a Kickstarter project because he needs some of the right Magic the Gathering story in the last minute,
Uh-huh.
and I'm thinking so I came up with this idea. What if you know how artists will redesign Magic cards?
Uh-huh.
What if the character did not like its redesign? Right? I thought that would be a very fun story to tell. And I got to do my favorite opening line I've ever done in anything I've done, which was, in the end, it was the glitter that set him off. Like that to me is priceless. So, but yeah, no, but I mean, I've come to the point where I've accepted the fact that I actually might be competent. I'm not gonna say good, but I'm gonna say competent at this.
Well, you were growing by leaps and bounds from the first time that we ever drew together.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I had a buddy go to me. It's like, I love that you draw. Goes, you don't care, right? And like not in like a bad way, but like in like you don't care what it looks like to the rest of the world. He called my art kindergarten art, which I thought was, I know what he meant. It was like a little insulting, but it was like, okay, I know what you mean by this, right?
Well,
And
that's where I'm at right now when it comes to canvases. When I'm doing acrylic just on canvases,
yeah,
because Kat has really taken to painting. I mean,
yeah,
she's like really taken on to painting, where it's just like, holy shit! It's like I can't, I can't catch up to this kid.
no, no, oh no,
If I'm painting on paper, I can use the tools that I'm used to. I could use pencil and build it up. I could use transparent washes and build it up. I'm used to that. Airbrush, but acrylic on canvas or oil on canvas, I suck so hard. And so
yep,
it's been fun to try and
keep up,
and
sorry.
yeah, just keeping up with her is a challenge. I mean, it's like I can't,
Oh yeah, oh
but yeah,
absolutely.
I'm kindergarten level when it comes to painting, where she's like,
Oh yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed that, like the fact that I can put myself in the category of, you know, I'm not bad. I'm not gonna say I'm great, but I'm not bad anymore. I have turned some heads sometimes with what I've done. I think the nicest compliment though I got was from on Vu. She goes to me,
oh,
you go, she goes, most people stop. You don't. I like that.
that's the secret. That's the secret
Yep.
right there. That's actually no joke.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Oh, I absolutely agree. That is the whole of the secret. It's nothing else. Right? I don't think I'm ever going to get to the, and again, I say this with like humility. All humility. I don't think I'm ever going to get to the point where I'm you or Cat or on. Like I'll have my own style, and I'll respect my style if that makes sense. But
No,
you guys have been doing this for a long time.
well, we just haven't
You know
stopped.
what I mean?
That's the
Yeah,
only
exactly.
difference. Yeah, and the thing is, you put in pilot hours, you're just gonna get better.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's just like, yeah,
Right?
it's like you're gonna as long as you don't stop, you just keep on getting better, and you'll be fine. You're gonna be very happy with what you got.
Oh, I've thoroughly enjoyed the journey. Like it's not. I don't even think it's bad. It's a bad thing either. I just say it like, I've been working at it. I'm not gonna, like I said, it's been a process. It's been a learning process, right? I've messed up royally on some of these things, and it's been fun. Things I didn't expect to rest up on kicked my ass, and then the things that I did really, really. That's the thing that I think that blows me away about it is it's not the things you expect to be. It wasn't the things I expected to be hard that broke me. It was the stuff that I thought would be easy. Right? That's what gets you. It's not the.
Yeah.
I've learned. Like if anything will keep you humble in this life, it will be art, because art will say to you, "Do you think it's easy? Let's find out. Let's find out how good you are."
Let's take a
real.
look. Let me show you something.
Let's take a look. Exactly. That's it. That's it. That's what I've learned. I've learned that the stuff that seems very, very simple might be the hardest stuff you ever do. And the stuff that looks really, really hard blows away, right? Blows away what you expected it to be. And I don't fully understand the logic. Maybe it's because I'm a lot more conscious of what I'm doing, if that makes sense. When I respect it, and that's part of it. But I also just think it's just my learning process, right? Things that may seem simple, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I still have to learn things about it.
Yeah, it's very deceiving.
Yeah. Right. And again, I've learned to embrace that challenge willingly, right?
But I'll keep on leaning on.
And
I'll keep on leaning on what we talked about. Yeah, I think we talked about this the first time that we ever sketched together for a while. That art is nothing but cleverly covered up mistakes. That's the best definition of art that I think I've experienced.
But I think I said this last time, but I'll say it again this time. It's the flaws that make the art, not the perfection. Right?
That's true. I totally agree with that. Yep.
It's the flaws. It's not that it's good. It's what's like, again, I have a very different perception of Nira than you do. I'm not going to pretend that it's the correct or incorrect. That's not what I mean. But I have my own perception.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and things that I focus are different.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I must do then is embrace my differences and not worry about whether or not it's what you would do. It's about what I would do. Now, doesn't mean there aren't things I can't learn. It doesn't mean that I'm going to get it all right. But what it does mean is, right, I'm going to have my own interpretation of Nira. And good, bad, or indifferent, right? It's going to come from me. And my flaws will create a different image than what you can do. And that's a good thing, because I don't want a world where you and I see it the exact same way. I want something a little different.
That is absolutely correct.
Yes.
Plus, if we all drew it exactly the same way, nobody would pay me to draw it anymore.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's like, no, that's exactly how I draw it. So we're fine. We're good.
Then you'd have to find a way to deliberately mess up on purpose.
I mess up so much naturally that I never have to mess up on purpose.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need no to create my accents. I do that all by myself. See. Well, you want to see what I did?
Yeah, let's see what you got. Where you at? Let's get some focus. Almost focused. Cool. I got it now. Awesome. See, and that's the armor that I like the best. It's like I've been digging like the white accents on her armor. Super cool, dude. Super cool.
Yeah, I looking back, doing it a little differently. I still got to work on some stuff with the face. I don't quite have that as nailed down as I want it to. I'm adding a little red on her lips right now, folks, because that just looks better with her for sure. So I'm just gonna. But again, the whole the secret, ladies and gentlemen. Da, 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 da.
Awesome sauce.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I again, I can see how far I've come. I'm really done the sketchbook too.
You almost got that
I'm
thing
gonna give
filled
this
up?
one to my what?
You got the sketchbook filled
Yeah,
up?
just about. Just about, yeah.
Nice.
Just about. I had a buddy of me go to me, hey, I don't even like he's taking visual arts in the university. So I don't even do that. I don't even have my sketchbook nearly filled up. It's like, okay. But I've started, as you see, I do a lot more color stuff now.
Yeah.
I find my stuff pops more with color, even if it's just pencil crayons. Here's what I did. Here's a Chobits I tried not too long ago.
Cool, cool. I love it.
Yeah. I don't how do I put this? I don't stop just because I don't. You gotta learn, and you can't be afraid, right? You can't be afraid to learn, you can't be afraid to stop. And like I said, I had again, my buddy had called my art kindergarten art, right, quote unquote. Because we had another buddy who actually was quite good. It didn't go to ACAD. We encouraged him to go to an art school for what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't want to do it. And goes, the caveat is he still thinks he's better than I am, which might be true. Like in terms of talent, I'm just working at this bit by bit by bit by bit by bit.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But he stopped. But he stopped and I didn't. And as you say, there's value in that. Like it's again, I don't know if I'll ever like make a living drawing stuff, but the fact that I do draw makes me a better storyteller all the way around, which is why I enjoy it.
Sure. Yeah. Because you're visualizing. Yeah. You're always exercising that muscle. And that's,
exactly.
And for storytelling, that's huge.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to think of something else to drop here before we wrap this bad boy up. But your stuff looks really good. By the way, Evil Nira might be my favorite character from the first arc.
Yeah.
Or quote unquote evil Nira.
Yeah, it's I was happy that I was talked into, because that's a cool 80s kind of trope to have, like the evil version of the character, right? So I was happily talked into including Evil Nira with the book and with the story and stuff. So yeah, she's going to continue being a recurring character because I do love that trope a lot. I love seeing it play out.
Are you a Darkwing Duck fan?
Huh? What's that?
Are you a Darkwing Duck fan?
Why is your voice breaking?
I love Naked Duck. Okay, hold on. Are you a Darkwing Duck fan?
A Darkwing Duck fan. Thank you.
Yes.
I did watch it for a minute.
Okay. So my favorite villain was Negaduck, which is basically an evil version of Darkwing Duck, a parallel version of Darkwing Duck. It's so if it's done well, doppelgangers are so fun. The thing is, I think in the 80s and 90s it was done to death.
Michael Knight even had a freaking doppelganger, and he had a goatee, just like Spock.
Yeah.
There's always an evil version.
Yes, there's always an evil version of you, because I think there's potential. Like, I think the cool thing is, I don't know if you're going to be doing it in this story. If you do decide to do a semi-serious story or even a not so serious story, like you should explore where the two characters diverge. You know what I mean? So,
we actually figured out some of the reasons why they are different. And we had we've got some story elements that we're going to put in, and I'll tell you now because it's not like it's ruining anything. But Nira was actually raised as a bounty hunter as a little kid because her dad was a bounty hunter, and her mom had passed away of natural causes. It was just nothing connected to anything. It was just real life, random thing where she was raised by her dad and that sort of thing. The evil Nira character, she actually lost both of her parents, and she was raised by bounty hunters just on her own. So if I were to compare Nira and in Evil Nira, the Evil Nira is basically like kind of like Batman without a filter, and good Nira is kind of like Peter Parker.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like you do what you got to do, but you really are trying to have somewhat of a moral code of decency, of, you know, not just killing people just because or anything, you know, like trying to be a good person, where Evil Nira is unfiltered, you know, Batfleck. And it's just like, I'm going to blow you up.
When we go off the air, I actually have a story idea for you. You might be interested in, because you actually just gave me a really good idea for a story with both of those two characters specifically. And I have a theory. I'm good, but I don't want to do this on the air, because if you say yes, right, then it's right. But if you don't, even if you don't, I think you'll appreciate the theory, if nothing else. I actually have a fun concept. And if you ever decide to, quote unquote, redeem Evil Nira, this is the story to tell, because I think I know a way you can do it a little bit. Anyway.
Cool. All right, we'll definitely talk.
Yeah.
See that? I messed up her mouth and her nose. I'm just like, I gotta redo this.
It's all good. It's all good. I'm
looking. I'm glad we're.
Sorry. Glad you're what?
No, I'm just saying that I'm glad that we were able to hang out for a little while, and we scheduled this like a pretty long time ago.
Oh yeah, it was. Last time you came on the show was Kat was here, and you were doing your final issue of your last Kickstarter, not this one, but your last one prior to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we had a good time, right? Right.
Good.
I hope Kat had a good time. So
she did.
Yeah, I hope so. Right? It's just,
I know, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. It's like she's not here. No. But no, I get it.
Fiddling with these drawings forever. It's just like, her face is crooked. I got to do this. I got to fix her eye. I got to fix her nose. But it's good. It's good. Quick sketches for now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna try a different version of Alice. I'm gonna try the live animated version of Alice in Wonderland here. So
nice.
Well, like I said, I'm writing in Alice in Wonderland Greek mythology series, right? So I've been very fascinated where they've been crisscrossing. Right.
I got you. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if I have time for a third image, if we have time for a third image, I know what the third image is going to be actually. So I'll do Alice here. But no, it's one of those things where
this is what was distracting me for a minute. This little man right here.
Let's see.
Hey,
aw,
this little guy.
Just he wanted some love and attention.
He did. He was down here. He's just like, dude, what about me? What about me? What about me? Yo.
Yeah.
I'm all out of focus. Yeah. All right, buddy.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me go draw. Crazy dog.
What's his name?
Oh, this is Waffle Alexander.
Hello,
Waffle
Mr.
Alexander Mouse.
So you can say Waffle Alexander has appeared on the podcast now.
He has, officially.
Yes.
I'll work on those a little bit later. Let me see if I can. Actually, you know what? Since I never had a chance to do any kind of coloring or anything like that last time, I will show you some coloring.
Sure. Let's go to school, ladies and gentlemen. No, I think I think the most amazing thing I'm gonna if I ever become rich and shameless, I'm already one of the two, so I mean I'm halfway there. But if I ever become rich and shameless doing what I'm doing with the art, right? I think
Hmm.
one of the most amazing things to me is I've realized, like going back to like the theme of, you know, people people making the decisions to what they do and what they don't do, right?
Hmm.
The path of it really, like, ultimately, like, I think I've been thinking about this. Talent might be the most overrated thing in the world, because as good as you might be, if you don't have the heart to do it, if you can't put yourself in it, it doesn't matter.
Oh, exactly. That's why I try to talk Kat out of it. Really, I mean, just not for the sense of keeping her away from art, just making
Yeah.
sure that she loved to do it before she really committed to it.
Yes.
Because then, once we get to the point where people are depending on you, you're getting in the middle of projects, and you don't want to be the person that's the weakest link on the team trying to get things done. All
Yep.
right, there I am. Situated. I had to use my webcam. My webcams are not good enough to capture screens,
Yep.
so I have to. I got to use my phone as a webcam.
So now you're coloring. So what's your
Now I'm
program, if
color.
you don't mind my asking?
I have grown very accustomed to using Procreate on my iPad.
Okay.
Yeah, Procreate is it's actually it does everything that I want it to do. It's uh it's what I need it to be. It's like Photoshop. I was basically a Photoshop guy for years,
Mhm.
but the way that Procreate works is exactly how I want it to work. Instead of me
Yep.
trying to figure out some of the other tools, like just it's like it caught up with me. So
It's okay.
so
It's
I
it
like.
t- the tools have to be what you're comfortable with, not what everybody expects them to be. And there's a lot more freedom with that today than I think there has been in the past.
Oh, huge, huge. I never thought that. I mean, I thought it was going to be a very long time before I can actually do finished professional work on an
Yep.
iPad. I had a Cintiq for the longest time, and I was using a Cintiq along with Photoshop, and I
Hmm.
thought that okay, well, this is the end all be all of this. This is the way it's going to be for the next 20 years. Um, but then freaking Procreate came out, and then they updated. The iPads are finally fast enough to run this kind of stuff,
Hmm.
and so that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at now. Hopefully,
Yeah. I'm gonna.
if it just gets better from here, I'll be happy.
Wait. Oh, definitely. But there will come a point. Just for me specifically, I still haven't played with the digital stuff too much yet. I'm still getting comfortable with the shape. What I can tell with most tools of technology is it takes what you already have and makes it theoretically better. Theoretically, at least.
Theoretically, I mean, they try to make it so that you still feel like
Yeah.
you're coloring on paper and that sort of thing. And I'm just like, I don't mind the idea of making it feel like it's digital. I mean, it's a digital tool. Make it feel digital. I don't mind.
Yep.
As long as it does what I want it to do and it feels intuitive, that's what's important to me.
That's the important part. Yeah, I get you. I get you. I got you. As for me, I'm comfortable where I'm at. I'm comfortable where I'm at because I mean,
Uh,
well, no, I'm still growing. I should say it like that. I'm more like I'm still growing doing what I'm doing, right?
you
So
should stay like wherever it is that you're comfortable and happy. That's where you need to be. It's like
I I
because
I
that's where
like
you grow better. You grow faster and better that way. I
I like
remember.
I like just a touch of discomfort because discomfort forces you to change just a little bit. Right?
That's true. That is very true.
Yeah.
Got to
I get.
agitate. Got to agitate a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you don't, you're just going to stay exactly where you are. right?
Right. You'll stay in the same spot forever. Yeah, you're right about that. That's true.
Hmm. You have, again, it's not like uncomfortable of like you're starving, or uncomfortable in the sense
Right.
of,
Not that kind of discomfort.
yeah, no, more along the lines of, okay, uh,
Well, there's Waffle.
that's
If he
okay.
keeps on barking, I'll mute my mic for a few minutes until he comes down. I think Cat just got home, so he just wants to bark at her.
That's okay.
There you go. Yeah, it's just her. He'll stop now.
Yeah. No, what it is right, is, okay, can I do this? Right? Right?
Hmm.
Can I, like sometimes I do it just to see if I can. Not, and even if I, again, I'm not, it's not, how do I put this? It's not if I succeed. I almost, and I say this almost, I almost don't care if I actually succeed or not. That's
Right.
not, that's not the point. Because even in failure, you can grow. There's room to
Oh,
grow,
absolutely.
right?
But
But
that's art all the way around. That's
yeah,
you
that's
try
everything.
you keep on trying different things, keep on trying different things, and seeing what sticks. It's like
Yeah,
writing music.
exactly. And like you said, right, at this moment in time, what I'm doing,
Hmm.
I'm trying to, I'm trying to, how do I put this? Right? I'm trying to get to a point where where I can get better at certain things, like layering, like physical
Yeah.
layering, digital layering. Like I said, at some point next year or the year after, I'm going to
Hmm.
have to play with digital a little bit. And that's just because if I'm going to get better in this day and age, I have to dip my toes into it. Now, that doesn't mean, again, that I'm going to become this world renowned, illustrated, blah, blah, blah. That's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I'm learning. It's the only way I'm going to get better, is to learn all about those things and do those things that make me uncomfortable, because that's how you learn, that's how you grow. You don't grow, unfortunately. You need to push yourself in places you don't normally go to.
Yeah.
And
That's 100% true.
yeah, you have to. It's the only way you're going to find out. And again, it's about doing the best you can in the moment. It's not necessarily about getting it all right, because who gets it all right? I mean, nobody I know gets it all right,
Nobody.
right? You don't have to
Exactly.
get it all right, but what you do, but in the process of doing something, you learn. And when
But
you
you also
learn,
you're also figuring out whether or not you like it. Is that the
yeah,
thing I want to
exactly.
do anyway? Yeah, yeah. So you can't put all your eggs in that basket until you at least figure out whether or not you even love it.
Yeah, and that's it. It's not, again, it's not like, hey, I absolutely must do this. No, no, no. It's about, hey, let's try it, and having the courage. Like the thing you told me about Kat today. And again, if you listen to this, sorry, we were talking about you behind, but she knows when to quit right away. That is a very valuable skill, right?
It is. Yeah, I think that's actually very, very valuable. I think if more people, it takes some bravery to
Sure,
do that.
absolutely.
Because I wasn't brave enough to quit certain things that I didn't really want to do because I was like, oh, I just felt like I was obligated to do them. Whether
Yeah,
it's activities or some kind of sport or some kind of whatever it is. It's just like, you know what? It's like I think I'm good. I don't need to do this one thing.
yeah,
But you don't want
nothing
to
personal.
disappoint people. Yeah, you don't want to disappoint people, and yeah, and sometimes that leaves you in a bad spot
Yeah,
to do that
absolutely.
too much.
Here's my rule with it, with people. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it. Sometimes I'm late, because I think we're all a little late sometimes, but I'm going to do it. Now, if I don't say it, then I'm not doing it.
Chances are you're not doing
Very much. I'm just not, no. Because at this
it.
point in life, life's too short.
we're old enough now that we realize just how much of a commodity time is.
Yeah. So
yeah, exactly.
I don't, it's like, and I saw this with all the love in the world, to everybody here, but I don't want to do it. I don't care.
I don't want to do it.
I'm not doing it. And you can't make me. And if I disappoint you, so be it. I'm okay with that.
Those are minutes I will never get back.
Exactly. That's more valuable. Unless I say, now, if I say yes, if I commit to it, if I 100% commit to it, then the only way I get out of it at that point is if I see you're not as committed to it. But then I'm bailing for a very different reason. I'm bailing because I don't think you're serious about it. If you're not serious about it, why should I be?
Exactly. You can't. It's not a one-way street, man.
Yeah, exactly. That's basically it. If I don't feel you're serious, I'm gonna treat you accordingly, right?
But that's a self-defense mechanism, though. That's not you quitting something. Yeah, it's a whole, like you said, it's a whole different set of reasons there.
Well, again, it's commitment. If you're serious about something, there's going to be signs you're serious, and I'm going to watch your actions. That's what's going to tell me everything I need to know about you, right? And if you're not serious, if you're not committed, if you're not any of those things, right, that too is going to come out. And when it does, right, and if I see it unequivocally, right, if I see it unequivocally, I'm going to treat you accordingly, because I just realized at that point, if you're not serious, why should I be? Right? It might sound like a really simple standard to some people, but that's what I got. Right?
Yeah, you got to stand your ground with certain things.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. You cannot. If other people, again, if people are serious, their actions will tell you they're serious.
Oh yeah.
And if they're not serious, their actions will tell you they're not serious. What I've learned to do in this life is I'm going to pay attention exactly what you do and don't do. And that will tell me everything I need to know about you. Good, better, and different. That's how I look at things. Right? Yeah. So, folks, you're listening. Do I observe your actions? Yeah, I do. Do I judge you for it? Yes, I do. Well, I should say a judge. I observe your actions and make a conclusion. I don't necessarily judge you personally as one way or the other, but I'm also going to be like, is this worth my risk? If I'm committing, are you committing? Or are you just giving me a lip service?
You're just going to bamboozle me.
Yeah. If you don't bamboozle me, it's going to happen once. And that's it. I'm just going to go back to doing my own damn thing. Right? That's how that is legitimately a measurement I have for people. I don't have the patience to wait. I just do. So that's something I've again, that part of me, maybe that's not a really good thing. Did I hold on right? My microphone. I'm a little worried about that. Can you hear me fine?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yep.
Okay.
Mine tends to rat out about an hour and a half. I don't know why. I just can plug it back in. It works just so I start ratting out. You just gotta let me know.
Okay. No, I just was listening to it for a second here. Do you want to see my attempt at Alice in Wonderland?
Yes. Cool. Yeah. Those are the hands. I like the hands position. Innocent tingle to her.
Yeah. Except now your microphone's going off the deep end. Might be mine. One second here. Give me a second. Okay. Echo cancellation noise prevention. It's all there. All right. Can you say something funny, Bill? Okay. Technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen.
Par for the course, am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. Live podcast.
That's funny that it did it right when I said it. I was just
exactly.
How long has it been so far? It's like, yeah, maybe I should say something about the mic kind of going weird. It's happened on like the last few live streams, and I'm like, maybe I should say something real quick.
Okay. So can you repeat what you said there? Because I heard part of that, but not all of it.
Oh my God, where did I leave off? What was I saying?
There you go. That.
Oh, I was saying that the position of her hands, like, it's got this innocent little body language, like, just the way that her shoulders are leaning and the way her hands are holding together like that. It's like, that's very cool. I like that.
Taking Disney posters. I mean, I'm at the point now where I'm starting to draw my own stuff a little bit, but I'm still using a lot of reference for what I'm doing.
Gotcha. Well, I use a lot of reference for stuff too.
Yeah.
And reference is something. Sometimes reference is something that just doesn't go away.
So, I have found what I'm going to try to draw. The last thing I'm going to try to draw on this stream. So, folks, it is my attempt at Medusa.
Ah, excellent.
Medusa is a big part of my Alice in Wonderland story. Big part of it. I think she was horribly mistreated by the Greeks. So
we'd like to see how that comes out.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. Yeah. So in my story, actually, here's the thing. In my story, she's not a Gorgon when my story starts. I kept her. In my story, she's called the Gorgon Knight. But she's not a Gorgon yet. Right? She has the ability to turn people to stone, but she's like Alice's knight. She protects her in really dire situations.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Alice has a little bit of a crush on her too. A little bit. Right? But the thing is, I looked at Medusa's story and I was like, you got screwed. Like, well, literally and figuratively. Because you basically were punished for betting a god on a temple. Right? And what were you supposed to do? Say no to the god? like she didn't exactly have the ability to say no. So and Artemis was a bitch to her because she banged Poseidon. It's like, okay, well, I really don't know what she was supposed to do there, because there's not a lot of people that would be able to, like, you don't say no to the king. You know what I mean? You just don't.
You just don't, man.
It was like Solomon in the Bible, right? He got the like everybody's like, how could he get 1,000 women to sleep with him? It's simple. He's the king.
That's how.
Yeah,
that's simple. The secret.
Well, that's what are you going to do? The most powerful guy in your nation's going, hey, I want you. What are you going to do?
I know, right?
You can't have me. You know what I mean?
Like, I'm sorry, but no.
No, I mean
I'll just say no.
Yeah, that still doesn't really work that way today. So why would it work that way? Right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, I like, so I mean, you're kind of in a position of well, sure, I guess. I mean, what am I supposed to do, right? But that's the thing. It's not how do I put this? Right? So she kind of got a raw deal. She became a monster because ironically, a different god's whims basically screwed her over. And I'm like, you deserve better stories than that. Like, you really, really do. And so I thought, okay, I want to and I'm not spoiling too much saying this, is that yeah, she's probably going to be facing her Gorgon side of her nature somewhere in my story, but I decided to do something a little bit different, and that was I was going to give her a choice at the very least because she deserved better than what she got.
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
Cool. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's unfortunate the way her life in that sense worked out. What's really interesting though about Medusa is how people interpret her hair. That is really interesting. Because on one hand, you can make it look like a braid. But on the other hand, it's all snakes when you get to the top, right? So that is such an interesting.
Let me set this here for a moment. Somebody's tried to give me a call several times. I'm just going to make sure that it's not an emergency.
Yeah, sure. Go right ahead. If it's an emergency, by all means.
So I'm just gonna switch cameras real quick, so that way I can since I'm using my phone as my live stream.
Yeah, no worries. There we go. It's like, is it important enough that you must answer the phone right now?
Exactly. I know we're getting towards the end here, but
yeah.
But still, it's like I didn't want to be rude, but I'm like, okay, well they tried to call me like a few times, so let me check real fast, just to be sure. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
No worries. So, folks, I'm hoping he comes back to continue, but if not, I'm gonna finish Medusa. This is what I'm going to do. So, if anybody wants to watch and listen, that's definitely it. I'm giving her a what they call the college try, which is the first time I've done hair like this at all. So, and it's interesting to, again, she's interesting to draw, actually. So, yeah. It is. So, you're going to see lots of snake heads here. Yeah, my take on Medusa, folks, is going to be fun. But anyway, if you are listening and watching this, I am doing... I like how this picture actually has her putting her actual finger into her mouth here. So I'm going to try to do something a little fun with her fingers with this in an odd way. Yes. And I'm actually adding my own little twist on Medusa here for the audience. I'll be showing you guys shortly. I enjoyed the take on her. So I'm going to, I gave her a very, probably a bigger bosom than what most women have, and that's it's all about having fun, folks. So that's all I'm doing. And I can make her more serpent-like. I can make her a little bit more. So I got to make a decision there. All right, but we're gonna. You back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Was it important?
It's important, but nothing's on fire. I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to be here for 20 more minutes. I'll call you right back.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it'll be fine. Like,
oh yeah, totally. No, I'm had. Medusa is actually this is my first time trying to draw her. She's kind of fun. A bit. I gave her a bit of a bigger bosom than I think I intended, but that life's too short. Life's short. Whatever. Right? There are no mistakes. It's just learning experiences. What can I say? But I think I found the drawing of Medusa is really interesting because there's a certain like I'm not gonna be able to capture, I don't think, fully the reptilian green and black mixture that kind of came with this. But I thought that's an interesting tone to take with her. Something oddly primal, but also like monstrous but primal at the same time, which I think is interesting. So that's what I did. So you got any other books coming out, other covers coming out this year that you want to let people know about since we're coming here at the end of this?
Well, my big thing right now is that we're finishing two things. One was a Kickstarter that I did with Kat. It was
Yep.
called Indie Comics Parody Division #1.
Yeah, I want it. I couldn't afford to did that one. I couldn't afford to get into.
Yeah,
That looked good.
it's been running a little late, and we're finally finishing it up now. And then also the production on this Nira book that this is one of the pencil pages from inside.
There you go, folks.
So those are the two things that are happening right now. I've got a smorgasbord of things, but finishing these two projects has been like the front and center of everything. So
No, that's cool.
I hate it when things run late. So unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, I should say, fortunately, uh, we've learned some things, even though it was kind of the hard way, as far as time
Yeah, it
management.
happens.
So
It happens.
so we just know that for the next book, it's going to be completed before we start the campaign, especially
Yeah.
because for some of these campaigns, we're doing them solo. We're not doing them with support.
Yep. You gotta make sure that when you're doing that, something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like because I would hate for something. I mean, granted, it happens to everybody. The campaigns that I've supported, they've all run late and stuff. That's no excuse, but and I certainly don't want to, have that as a habit.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
so that's just one of our work things that we're implementing from now on. It's just like, all right, before we start the campaign, all of the interiors and stuff like that are. There's going to be odds and ends that always need to be worked on, but as long as the bulk of everything is all ready to go,
Oh
then
yeah.
everything is just works way smoother.
Oh, absolutely.
By
So,
default.
well, you say that now. It's like all of a sudden, like next year, it's like, oh, didn't work quite the way I planned. Stop laughing, God. Stop.
An endless learning experience.
Yeah, it's like it's gonna work out wonderfully next time. And then you hear laughter from above. Stop laughing. Stop.
Now for the Nira one, we published that through Committed Comics, so it's like we don't have any production issues when it comes to that book.
No.
But yeah, the parody book is running later than I wanted it to.
It does happen.
Just because it's just we're learning how to wear all the different hats all at once, So almost done with it though. Finally, so I'll be happy
Yeah.
with that.
Wow, this is my first time I've ever tried drawing Medusa. I gotta say, fascinating character. Well, because it's interesting because I think again, anyone that's read her story, you can't help but feel for her, right? You just can't.
Yeah, it's a bad situation. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. But it's also I think the interesting thing about her is, so I just got an idea, and like I said, then off the road we'll talk a little shop off when we get off here, but no, one of the things I'm like when I'm doing this particular take on her is it's like I can see why people enjoy her. I can definitely see why. Right? She's got a lot of. She's just. She might be one of the prettiest monsters, like depending on what you go by.
Right.
Ever, right? It's the approach. It's the. But yeah, it's like this is kind of like half. This is the first time this is when I actually the game. One of these out of these comfort zone moments here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually trying. I use a reference for some of it for sure, but I've also tried something a little different, which is I actually was like, okay, what would the rest of her shape look like, or an attempt at it at least, right? And so I came up with an idea for that. So, and I'm like, well, I think I kind of went with a poison ivy vibe a little bit, but I also don't think that's not against what she is. You know what I mean?
Feels like it's in theme, like it's like
Yeah.
you want it to be, yeah.
Yeah, it's something that I think if Medusa was real, what would that look like? And I'm like, it might feel like this, right? It might feel like this. So I'm giving it a shot and kind of going with the idea of this a little bit and just playing with it and going, I learned something, right? It's the human touches to her, I think, that make her on top of all that monster stuff. It's the human touches that actually make her what she is. So,
well, that's the part you identify with too, right?
yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's like, what if I was that monster? What if that happened to me? That sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, in my story, I'm not going to give away her role exactly, but one of the things I've learned about any kind of story is the tropes are the same. You got to put your own interpretation
Right
into the story. And if Medusa was a good guy, I'm not going to say again, and people can make that. That is one of the great debates, like villain or victim. You can make a definite case for Medusa that she was a victim, right? And I think that case is incredibly strong. But okay, how does someone like that deal with her fate? Attempt to deal with her fate heroically, right? If there was a heroic way to do it, what would you do?
Doing it heroically, that's very thought provoking. Because you only think of her as dealing with her condition in the most monstrous ways possible.
Well, that's just it, right?
So
Because
putting a different spin on it's
okay.
really cool.
Well, it's just like okay, you're sick. Okay, let's say you get sick with something. Well, there's two ways to take it. You can let that sickness dictate your life, or you can find a way to live in spite of it. I've seen both.
Right.
In my life, I've seen both in my life. So I'm like, well, she's going to become a monster. Like that's the inescapable part of her fate.
Mm-hmm.
She's always going to become a monster. But what if in the journey of that, if you could come up with a heroic way to deal with a fate that unjust, what would it look like? Right? What would that actually look like?
Yeah.
Right? That to me,
that's interesting. Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's a much more interesting take on her than I think what she's given, the hand she's dealt. And that's my opinion, of course, folks. You can interpret her however you want. That's the cool thing about mythological characters. They all are open to some degree of interpretation. But that is mine. And you can take from it whatever you like. All of which you say, I think I gave it a shot. So this is my attempt. What do you want to see my take on Medusa?
I do. I've been coloring 3 shades of purple now.
What do you think?
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah. Her hair was interesting. I gotta say, like her hair,
Yeah.
because it's not like typically with hair, right? When I draw hair, I deliberately leave it incomplete because if it's incomplete, you can people fill in the gaps with hair. You can't do that with her.
Yeah, you can cheat so much with hair, but not exactly with hers.
No, you can't. You can't cheat with her hair at all. It's like, wow, you can't do it. Not exactly anyway, right?
Right.
But
Because her
but
hair is all objects. It's all
her hair is like a ball of
Yeah,
snakes,
I
right?
usually use hair as a way of hiding so many mistakes, hiding connections,
Yeah.
hiding structures.
But
As long
yeah.
as it looks cool, as
Yeah.
long as it looks cool and your eye kind of fills in the gaps on its own,
Yeah.
then it's I think it's fine to do that. You know, as long as the image looks really cool. But with Medusa, you don't
Yeah.
have a lot of wiggle room. I said wiggle room.
No, no, you don't have any wiggle room with Medusa at all. Well, I tried. I did something very, very different with her. It's like, okay, I think I made her kind of cute, right? And kind of seductive.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was like, but still kind of a monster, still kind of a how to put this? Still kind of a monster, still kind of somewhere in between. Because again,
Mhm.
I don't think you can completely change the character. Like, yeah, there's a bit of a monster's personality
She
there.
straddles that line, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, she's attractive, but yeah, she's a monster. But yeah, she's, it's like she's both,
Yeah,
Not every
and
character can.
again, you can go both ways with her. Like, if you wanna write her as, like, a monstrous character, you can do it.
Yeah, yeah.
If you wanna might write her as a victim, you can do
Yeah,
it.
she's a summer and a winter.
Yeah. Sh No, totally. She totally is, and that's what makes her such a fascinating character is you can go either way, and they're both valid, right? The way I did was like, okay, if you're gonna become both the summer and the winter, how do you deal with it?
Yeah. I mean, that's gotta affect your life in crazy ways, It's
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
affect your psychology in lots of crazy ways.
Yeah, and oh, I didn't even tell you the best part. I deliberately put Greek paradoxes in my Wonderland stuff deliberately.
Mhm.
There's a scene where she sees her severed head meeting Odysseus, who's got like a necklace of her face in stone already.
Mhm.
That like
Yeah.
just a big mental like fu
Yeah.
because
That's a
how
fine
like
how do you do?
yeah, exactly. Right? And so you think about it like in those terms, it's like how would you deal like but again, I equate it to like a disease. Like about 5 years ago or 6 years ago, I was struggling with some kind of very weird condition and it was happening in my body.
Mhm.
And no matter what I did, I didn't know how to fight it. Right? Didn't matter. I had to learn this first time in my life, I had to adjust to the fact that I was going through something. Right? But at the same time, it was like, okay, what am I going to do about it? Right? What am I going to do to take care of myself? How can I function? Am I going to let it control me? Or is it going to am I going to find a way to live with it while I got it?
Right, exactly, yeah.
Right? And that's what happened is I found a way to like event I the treatment I came up with um the treatment I came up with eventually worked for it, but it was a process. It took months, like a good chunk of time to deal with it, and it was like, but in the meantime, like for the first 3 months, I couldn't sleep. The way it expunged itself was excruciatingly painful.
Mhm.
Right,
Yeah,
I had to deal, and it was like, and I was still working, and I was still doing my thing because I was living. Again, the thing about living on your own is you're the one taking care of you.
yeah, yeah.
Right? So, I was doing all of that and, like, working and I was working full like, pretty much a full-time schedule at that point in time at the day job. What was I? No, it wasn't full-time, but it was still 5 days a week. right? So I was going up, getting out there, and it hurt. It hurt, like, and for a long time until finally, it finally expunged itself. But I never, again, I realized, again, going back to full circle, how precious is that while, and that feeling of invincibility we all seem to have when we're younger. It goes away as you're older. You
Oh yeah,
realize this is all fragile.
yeah. That ignorance was bliss while you had
Yes, it was.
it.
Oh God, that ignorance is awesome, right? And honestly, I mean, if you can keep it for as long as you can, folks, do it. But at the same time, at the same time, right? No matter what you're afflicted with, life doesn't have to end. It can keep going,
Oh yeah,
and it often does.
that's how much I colored blue.
Nice,
I made some
nice.
blue, but it's shiny blue.
It's really well. That's the thing. Like that's where the digital thing interests me, because again, it's the layers you can go into it,
Yeah, I
right?
just keep building and building, and if I don't like it, I mean, it's like oil painting, but like you don't smudge it unless you want to smudge it, but it never dries, and you never run out of paint. So
A-
you just keep
a-
on.
and you have this wonderful thing called Control Z.
Oh yeah, I use that a lot.
that's that's the big difference. But there is I've been enjoying the physical stuff more and more as the years have progressed, right?
Oh,
And that's
I
why
think there's more.
I'm
There's always more value in physical, actual, on paper, on canvas art. You know,
yep.
and I think it'll probably become more valuable as time goes on because there's actually, just practically speaking, there's going to be less of it
Yeah.
because
No,
there's so much
at
digital
least
art. There's so much.
yeah, no, I think there is some value truth to what you're saying. I think though, this is how I kind of look at things, right? And this is I say this to every artist: have physical stuff with you that represents your work,
Hmm.
because if you're meeting people for the first time, and I'm not talking like a picture, an autograph picture, 8 by 10. That's nice. That's nice in some situations, but for artists, the connections we make, I mean, nothing solidifies them like a book
Right.
or a print.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Yeah. Something you can hold in your hand. This is the thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Because when people look at that, they're going to go back and say, I remember meeting this guy when, right? And that's great. That is absolutely fantastic. So
This is cool.
that is, yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad we
So,
had a chance to hang out. I'm glad I didn't get called away.
yes, me too. Me too. I would have been really sad. That would have been, because again, this is the last time you're going to be on the show like this.
Right.
Because the next time we do this, if we do this again,
Hmm.
I hope we do this again.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be in person.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it'll be in person, because now it's time for my shameless plug of the day. So, to everybody watching this, so if you want to know what's going to happen with my show once it breaks episode 1000, I have news for you. You can already find out. I have written, produced, and filmed show new content for what the shows are going to look like on my Patreon right now. You can go to patreon.com/justjoshing podcast. $5 gets you access to all those shows, plus a novel I'm working on right now called Corey the Night Witch, in which there's a lot of action and fun stuff, and there's even karaoke sometimes. But you can not. But for $5, you get access to the novel and the show. And you can see what it's going to look like post 1000 now. How's that for a plug?
That's a good plug.
That's a good plug.
That's a good plug.
That's a good plug. Yeah, excellent. So can I ask a question? Of the three you saw today, what one was your favorite?
I like you reproducing the Nira cover because I recognize the pose and stuff. I'm liking Medusa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me
I'm
too.
liking Medusa. I think looking at her, you're seeing. I see a story already that makes me it makes me wonder what's going on. It makes me want to know more. So yeah, Medusa's the winner for tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, and I said, and oddly, Poison Ivy vibes work great with her.
Yes.
So, yes. There you go, guys. Let me do so once again. I'll be posting this up shortly. So, okay, Bill,
Yeah.
you gotta let people know. You gotta let people know how they can find you. They want to find you for whatever reason.
Yeah. You can go to my website. It's just billmouse.com. I am most active on my Facebook page, which is if you Google Bill Mouse Art, just one word, you'll find me in a whole bunch of different places. You'll see a bunch of different examples of art posted everywhere. If you go to Facebook, Bill Mouse Art, one word, that's where I'm most active all the time. I've got under the same Bill Mouse Art thing. I've got Instagram, I've got Twitter, the usual places, and that's where you'll find me. I'll be updating there as to what the latest project happens to be. I also have a Patreon page for the adults minded of you who want to see some of my secret, not so safe for work art. It's at Club Corrupt. If you go to Patreon,
Club Corrupt.
yeah, it was actually the name was actually a name that.
Hold on, did I get that?
Yeah,
Right? Did I get it right?
a couple of our fans came up with it, and it kept on growing and turning into something. So now we have a Patreon page, and eventually we're going to have either a Kickstarter or Indiegogo for a couple of different books that have some more extra fun, exotic type of adventures going on. So yeah,
That's
the
right.
patreon.com/Club Corrupt. It's $5. Any nudie stuff I happen to draw or commissions, or if it's part of a project that's if it's part of an official Club Corrupt project, I keep on posting the stuff there, so that way that's just a cool place to get previews of everything, and then eventually we'll have some books and stuff coming out.
That sounds wonderful, folks. So
I know, right?
I'd like. Did I get the Club Corrupt spelled right? I just gotta ask. Did I do it
Yep,
right?
Club Corrupt. That's it.
All right.
Yeah, we just bought the domain, so it's like we got clubcorrupt.net. Eventually, we'll have that as a landing page. So that's for the more immature side of myself that just likes to have that kind of fun, and then the regular general audience stuff. You already know where to find all that stuff. So
all right,
we're all a 20-sided dice, aren't we?
Well, I was going to say 100-sided dice. Every once in a while, though, we hit a critical roll. Critical success or failure. We'll let you all decide. But for everybody watching, everybody listening, this was Bill Moz. This is myself. I will be back next week with some great guests. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday next week. I will be doing that. Outside of that, as I say, we're counting down to episode 1000. Definitely check out Nira. As you can see right here, I say perfectly the waves. Wave goodbye. If you are a creator interested in advertising your work or yourself, you can do that as well with my website, which I'll just post right here because, I'm a trained professional and I wait until the end of the podcast to spell it out. But I've done this a zillion times before, and this is why it's going to be so hard this time. There you go. For everybody watching, everybody listening, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. And I'll see you guys next time.